what if the scariest Godzilla wasn't the biggest, but probably the most human? I got a chance to watch Godzilla Minus One Color, and it proves that you don't need size. Size really doesn't matter when it comes to a terrifying monster movie, because the stripped down black and white version is quite amazing. So let's get into it. This is required watching, where we watch the films from cinematic influencers and look at them through the lens of learning about film and how to move forward. I'm your host, Trey Epps, and today we're talking about Godzilla Minus One, both its original and its newly released minus color cut, which I believe I watched on Netflix. Trust me, this is not your dad's Godzilla. In fact, I hated Godzilla. I never wanted to see another Godzilla in my life. And I think in the last 5-10 years, it feels to be like a good handful of Godzilla films. It feels like they keep coming out, and it really made me wonder why. And when this one came out, there was tons and tons of reviews about it, and I needed to understand why. Okay, let's get some context before we dive into this beast. Oh, pun intended. This film was released in 2023 by Takahashi Yamazaki, and Godzilla Minus One is a return to old form, blending kaiju spectacle with post-war trauma. Minus Color strips back the film to black and white visuals, emphasizing the thematic ties to post-war Japan. This is more than a monster movie. It's a story. It's not just about destruction. It's about grief and guilt and redemption. And it matters. And this film was shot for $15 million, and it looks better than most blockbusters. It's spiritual successor to the 1954 Godzilla, focusing on post-World War II devastation, and the Minus Color just amplifies the age of its horror roots. I think this film is most certainly for fans of Shin Godzilla or Gojira or the grounded monster stories. Filmmakers who love practical effects blended with VFX, and anyone curious about how a kaiju film can tell a deeply human story. What doesn't work and what does work, I think we should talk about it. Godzilla Minus One works on almost every level, and what might not land for everyone is a few things here and there. But to start on the positive, the story, Koichi's story of post-war survivors' guilt turned redemption arc is fantastic. Godzilla isn't just a monster, it's an embodiment of Koichi's shame in Japan's destruction and nuclear war. Amazing. I think the emotional stakes are great. You care deeply about these characters, and I think the grounded storytelling and kaiju action, it feels earned and not forced. And of course, if you watch it in Minus Color, it only heightens the post-war metaphor, and it feels like you're watching almost like historical footage. What doesn't work so well is that some may find the pacing slow compared to Hollywood kaiju films. I don't agree with this. And the metaphor might feel heavy-handed if you're tuned into post-war Japanese history. But again, I don't think that's really the case. Listen, if you're a filmmaker, make your monster personal. Godzilla here isn't random destruction, it's a consequence of choices made and avoided. The direction and cinematography, Takashi Yamazaki directed, wrote, and did visual effects. I don't know how. Minus Color adds grainy documentary-style feel that makes it more haunting. The gorgeous composition that this film takes is like art. It uses light and shadow, and again, watching it in Minus Color just makes it more intimate. And the camera work makes the human scenes contrast so well with the kaiju scenes. The color version sometimes looks too clean, and I think the Minus Color one is for a very specific crowd, but I'm very happy I'm able to choose which I want. For cinematography, you should reflect on your theme. Color versus no color tells two very different stories. In terms of legacy, Godzilla Minus One isn't just a return to form, it's an evolution. It cements Godzilla's place not only as a spectacle, but as a symbol of collective trauma. and its minus color version. It's a love letter to where it came from. It's a love letter to cinema, really. And I think this could inspire a new wave of meaningful blockbusters, but we'll be sure to find out soon, I'm sure. And shows that filmmakers with big emotions matter just as much as big effects. Is this movie required watching? Of course it is. For filmmakers wanting to study small budgets and high emotional impact cinema, tick. For anyone interested in allegory-driven genre films, go for it. If you want a monster movie that leaves you thinking after the credits, this movie is for you. But I know I'm not the only one here. This is not a dictatorship, this is a film club, baby. So, question, which version did you like the most? Which version did you see? Did you see the color version or did you see the minus color? Let's talk about it in the comments. Let's talk about kaiju films that really make us feel things. And one day soon, it's on the list. Shin Godzilla is coming. So watch more, learn more, and let's make better films. Until next time, peace.